Pretty important game for early in the season, but it can give a pretty good compass for these teams perhaps the rest of the year. And Jackson has room to go here, taking it out. We are underway in Houston. Irvin, the running back, kind of shoves him out of bounds. Griffin, the tight end, on the move. Watson to Lamar Miller, a Pro Bowl alternate running back a year ago. Gain of 3, and the tackle made by Avery Williamson. He's got a 2nd down and 7 with the fake to Miller, who offers the block, and deep he goes. He's got him! Bruce Ellington, right by Logan Ryan.
Throw for Deshaun Watson.
1st and goal, Miller. Pyle drives his way down to the 2. Williamson there once again with the stop, and Searcy making it. Here he goes. Miller, touchdown. Little read option there, Rich, and they cash in on the interception thrown by Marcus Mariota.
Watson's going to come down the line of scrimmage. He's just reading the rack post. As soon as the rack post steps inside, he can easily flick that ball to Lamar Miller. Look at the patience of Deshaun Watson. He's such a terrific athlete.
The Baron will try the extra point. It's 7-zip. Texans on top. He returned the first one. This goes out of the end zone. It is a touchback to the 25-yard line. Ritter is the fullback with the 1st and 10. Murray, he led the league in rushing a couple years ago. It is a gain of 5. Heath on him. 2nd down, 5. DeMarco Murray slugged once and then brought down. Zach Cunningham. Taylor was in motion. Murray and merciless. 1-yard gain, shy of the 1st. Got to the 30.
Counters with backs like DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry.
Kern to punt. Roof is closed. Obviously no elements to deal with. Running back Irvin from the 20. Pretty good hang time, a little over 4.5 seconds.
Takes great care of himself and puts his team in a position to have a chance to win each week.
Fake to Miller. Anderson, the tight end. With the beat on him is Curtis Riley. Makes the stop. It is a quick gain of 11. 2 tight ends. 1st down. Miller. Not much there, and grabbed around the waist by Wesley Woodyard, the leading tackler. Gain of 2 to the 37. Brought in a rookie out of Bucknell. 2nd and 8. Fake to Miller. Giacomini with the block. Oh, he's got his receiver there, and that's incomplete. Nice coverage on the play by Woodyard, and they're going for the talented tight end, Ryan Griffin. Incomplete pass. We have the 3rd and 8. Miller remains and gives a little chip block. Outside, that's Hopkins. Jackson was on him, the rookie. You know they're going to pick on him.
He attacks the ball in the air.
1st and 10. Blocked by Griffin, the tight end. Here comes the chase right now by Jones, and then he is bumped and knocked backwards and throws it away wisely. Initially hit by Jones.
Deshaun Watson, he's going to bring pressure against the rookie quarterback.
2nd down and 10. Miller finds a hole, and then around his waist he finds Derek Morgan with a burst of 6. Gannon speed then, right?
Unusual and rare.
3rd and 4.
It's a good
down. It was. That was a very well-timed. Brown was there on Griffin with the stop. Gain of 6 on 3rd and 4. 8th play of the drive. 1st and 10. Miller. And from the side, you saw Byard kind of jump in and make the stop. Gain of 2 down to the 41-yard line.
More reps, more experience each and every week.
2nd down and 8. Nice deceptive move. Then it goes and checks down. Here's Miller. Room to roam. Lamar Miller knocked out of bounds. Curtis Riley, a catch and run, takes him inside the 10 to the 9. 2 tights. Miller gained 1,000 yards a season ago. Wrapped up on that line and hit by Casey.
They believe in staying after the run.
Texans number 7 and running the ball. 2nd and goal. Touchdown. Hopkins. And it looks like he beat Bryce McCain.
Exceptional ball skills to go along with terrific hands. He's a good route runner, and he can make those difficult catches. He's got great length. Talked to him on Friday about his long arms and thick in traffic.
Hopkins with his second touchdown reception of the season. Fairbairn will tack on one more for a 14-0 lead. Quarterback Deshaun Watson, the ensuing kickoff by Fairbairn. Adoree Jackson is deep back. And he'll take a knee, and they go to the 25-yard line as he leaves it in the end zone for a touchback with the 1st and 10. Down by 2 touchdowns. Mariota is really good with that cadence. There's a nice acrobatic catch made by Eric Decker. Jackson was there.
Way too many big plays through the first 3 weeks.
Derrick Henry is in. The Heisman Trophy winner, and he's gotten from behind by Benardrick McKinney. Murray the block, 3rd and 5, and out of the reach of the diving wide receiver Rishard Matthews. He had a broken collarbone in August, surgery. His season debut today, and as Rich said, he's got incredible speed. Wide receiver from Notre Dame from the 24, fair caught, and that's where it goes on a 46-yard punt.
He's at quarterback.
Deontay Foreman is the rookie running back, and he gets the handoff here on 1st and 10. They like him. He was initially hit by Byard in 2nd down and 5. Watson 6 of 8, and he runs with a nice block up front, and he got that from his center, Nick Martin. That opens the door.
Right up the middle.
1st and 10. Nice misdirection there with the tackle made by Klug on a 4-yard gain by Foreman. You know, they just saw this Titans.
The first down markers, when Deshaun Watson runs, he's looking for the end zone. That's the big difference.
2nd and 6. Here comes Foreman submarining. Arakpo on his back, and Williamson there. Gain of 3 season for Texas. For 2 all-time in the history of that school. 3rd and 3 and a first down throw. There's Fuller. Just caught the ball. Will Fuller. 1st and 10 Foreman. And a gain of 5. He was originally held by Brown.
Rotations in coverage.
2nd down 5. Gets it away. Anderson. And wrapped up by Byard. Foreman was at the bottom of your screen. This goes out to Hopkins. 3rd catch today. They jump on him. They wrestle him down. Casey was there. Pro Bowl last 2 years. Gain of 10 into the quarter, down to the 16. 1st and 10. Starting the 2nd quarter. Good blocking by Allen. Touchdown again! Fuller!
And everyone thinks he's going to throw the ball to DeAndre Hopkins, and then in the right corner of the end zone, there's Will Fuller. Great design. Just a 2-man route against this Tennessee secondary.
Jackson was in the vicinity. Rich was at his guy. As the extra point by Fairbairn is good.
Deshaun Watson was finishing basically the sentence. He had that type of recall, that type of memory when he sat down and visited with him.
Jackson will leave it in the end zone out to the 25, touchback. Mariota 1st and 10, Murray. Look at him pick and poke his way, and then he meets the grasp of McKinney close to the 1st down, up near the 33, gain of about 8 on the play.
It's Mariota.
2nd down 2. Good catch. Matthews finally brought down by Dylan Cole, rookie free agent from Missouri State. 1st and 10, Conklin a block. Nice pass, caught. Walker. Grabbed by Hal. 22-yard pickup. Put him at the 38 of Houston. Slow starts we talked about really taking hold. 1st and 10. And DeMarco Murray again bouncing and dancing. And wrapped up by DJ Reader. He makes the stop on the play with a shifty gain of 9. He's down to the 28-yard line of Houston. Prize. 2nd and 1. False start, I believe.
False start. Number 67, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
That's the list in the NFL.
They put a lot of money in that offensive line, too. 3 first-round picks. 2nd, 6. Mariota. Look at him fly to the end zone. Touchdown, Titans. 34-yard run. Marcus Mariota.
All of a sudden, you lose track of the quarterback. Look at Clowney. He seals down inside because he thinks the running back has the ball. And the next thing you know, Marcus Mariota is off to the races.
Become quarterbacks who move outside the pocket, run well. Suckup will tack on one more. And it's 21-7. Would set the tone for the rest of the year. The ensuing kickoff comes from Suckup. And Todman, reserve running back, to a knee. Touchback, 25. First and 10. Championship game appearances. One title last year. First and 10, Miller. Fowler trying to give a block. And then around his ankles with a gain of 5 in the play.
And it's critical.
Miller again on second down and 5. Then from behind, Eric Walton jumps on his back. He's the third outside linebacker. He's played around the league. A gain of 6 and a first down. 2 tight ends, first and 10. Fuller, end around. And he'll race out of bounds about the 40-yard line. Goes Will Fuller, 47-yard catches, 47 catches. Second down, 5. Miller, he's got the first down. And he's yanked down by Jones. Daquan Jones makes the stop. Gain of 9. Miller running well. 2-yard touchdown run. Watson touchdown passes of 8 and 16 yards. First and 10. Miller in the secondary. Running into Logan Ryan, the free agent from New England. 1. Fuller in motion. Miller gets the call. And Nate Palmer plays some high school basketball, number 50 there in Chicago with Derrick Rose. There's a 3-yard gain
by that Houston offense.
Ellington. Watson. Oh, he's got him! But he is too deep for Fuller. Clark the block at the left tackle. Pitch ran inside Hopkins. Takes 3 to bring him down. Initially, the hit was on him by Byard. Finished off by Walden. you don't have to borrow nothing. First and 10. Here's Lamar Miller. Brought down on the play from Avery Williamson with the gain of 4.
And anything with the Texans, it's just they feel giving the guy a rest.
Foreman, second and 6. Blocked by Hopkins. Flag thrown. Tackle made by Brown, rookie linebacker. Gain of 11 as it stands right now. They got him down to about the 8.
Holding, number 79, offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
That's Jeff Allen. Clark holds off his rush. And Hopkins can't hold on. That's incomplete. It's 4 so far. 3rd and 16. Down he goes. Sacked again, Casey. Plays Nick Novak will try a field goal of 50 yards. He grew up in Hawaii. He puts on 3 right there. He was an all-state football and high school soccer player. At halftime under Bill O'Brien, they're unbelievable. Here's the kickoff. Adoree Jackson is deep. And he'll leave it in the end zone. Touchback to the 25-yard line.
Quarterback position through his first 3 years in the league was a real issue for Bill O'Brien.
Derrick Henry was in on first and 10. This is Delaney Walker. Always tough and finally brought down on the play by Gilchrist along. Tough guy. First and 10. Henry in the backfield. Conklin the block at the right tackle. On the screws. Nice catch there by Rashard Matthews. Jackson there says he didn't catch it. Referee says it's the other way to the 42-yard line. Heisman Trophy winner Henry out of Alabama. 6'3" plus as he moves around. Jackson
for the Texans.
Second long 7. Little end around right here. Taywan Taylor with a move. Hal and others were there to kind of watch him. Henry gains 3, needed 1. Brought down on the play by Gilchrist.
How many touches to give Murray and how many touches to give?
With the first and 10, Mariota. And he's got him. Nice catch, good throw. It's Matthews, heavily covered by Jonathan Joseph. Dennis Kelly, the extra tackle. Henry remains. First and goal. Mariota, merciless, hot on his heels to the pylon and touchdown. Got it. 2-yard touchdown run, the second touchdown run today by Marcus Mariota.
And this is Whitney Merciless chasing him. Watch this effort by the quarterback to extend the football over the goal line. That gets a team fired up, Kevin, when you see that type of effort from your quarterback.
Suckup. 24-14. The Titans are back in business. 1:50 to play.
I think they take on the personality and the temperament of their head coach. There is no quit in the Titans.
Thompson just elevated off the practice squad earlier this week. Takes it from the goal line, finds a seam, and takes his way to the 42. 2 timeouts. 1st and 10. Fake to Miller, but they come up the middle. Woodyard can't get him, and then he throws it away wisely. What pressure coming up the middle that time. They had all kinds of people in there.
He used to hands to the face. Number 25 in the defense. The 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Try and challenge a one-on-one.
Watson looks into 5 defensive backs on 1st and 10. Underneath it goes to the tight end, Griffin. And shoved out of bounds by Jackson. Out of bounds, he's ushered at the 46. It's a gain of 7 on the play. 16-yard touchdown pass to Fuller and a 50-yard field goal. 2nd down and 3. Going deep. Oh, he's got Fuller! Ooh, here comes the yellow. Dory Jackson is getting picked on, the rookie.
He just panics.
Pass interference. Defense, number 25. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down and goal.
45-yard PI. Watson, touchdown. 1 yard. 5 Texan possessions. 5 consecutive scores.
You see the movement up front, and Deshaun Watson starts to the right, gets that linebacker flowing, and then is able to find that little crease right backside.
Overall pick, the 22-year-old first-round rookie out of Clemson. Fairbairn. Nope. He's going to miss that one. Wide left on the extra point.
It is crazy. These mobile quarterbacks, especially a lot of them that are coming out of today's game in college.
Dory Jackson will leave it in the end zone. Touchback to the 25. Here comes Mariota. 10. Mariota for Matthews, and a collision and a pick. Second today, Andre Hill.
That's Hal. He takes that. He's heading towards the sidelines immediately, and the quarterback never holds the safety with his eyes. It's 2 today for Hal.
12 on the first half clock. Let's see if Deshaun Watson here smells blood. See if Fielder gave a block. He knocked out Klug, and there goes the swerving quarterback, the rookie, to the 41.
Usually there's too many opportunities for him to find a crease.
1st and 10. Miller was in, and he gets the pass right here with the check down underneath, and he's wrapped up there by Arakpo on a gain of 2 down to the 39.
A number of different signal callers the Texans have had.
2nd down and 8. Hopkins. Push on McCain. Catch is made, and a beauty it was. 1st and 10 from the 18. Miller was in. Watson chased by Walden. And incomplete in the corner as they're looking for Griffin, and Riley uncorks on him. What great footwork. Picked off. Nice interception.
Starts to his right. Look at his eyes. Keep going. He's going to drift to his right. Now he's off balance, and he tries to drill this ball back across the field into 2 deep coverage. That is just a hard. No question about it.
Byard comes up with his first NFL pick. He had 19 of them in college at Middle Tennessee State. That's going to take us to halftime. Second half here in Houston. Deep back Chris Thompson, Jordan Todman. And Todman will leave it in the end zone with a touchback to the 25. 1st down and 10 to Houston. Down here as we begin the second half with a 1st and 10. This is Lamar Miller. Nice block by the tight end Griffin. And then brought down by Casey, who comes off the defensive line, stops him after a gain of 9.
Against this Titans defense.
2nd down and 1, Miller. He may have backpedaled. He did for the 1st down up to the 36-yard line. 1st and 10. They come through with pressure there with Morgan. And wisely throws it away downfield. He did have Fuller.
That's what attracted him to Bill O'Brien.
2nd down and 10 right here. Watson with time. The good footwork always present. And he finds a guy that admired him from afar. Another Clemson Tiger. Pretty well, actually, last week in New England when they scored the 33. 1st and 10 for Watson. Lot of time to survey. And he's got Ellington, who caught a pass earlier in the game. That's a gain of 5 right there.
Charge and go!
with a 2nd down and 5. Lamar Miller looking for a block. Allen trying to give it. And there's a Rapco following him along with Austin Johnson, a high pick out of Penn State last year. As you just saw, converting 3 of 4 on 3rd. 3rd and 2 here. Got it again. Hopkins finds that pocket and then spins down to the 36 on a gain of 6 on 3rd and 2. It's a 1st and 10. Lamar Miller. Palmer was there, but jumping on his back. They had Woodyard from Jacksonville. He was injured in that secondary. 2nd down 11. Watson. Hopkins, the most targeted receiver in pro football, in front of Sims, makes the grab, and he picks up 5 right there. Receiver in the NFL with that current streak. 3rd and 6. Underneath, on the move, Ellington. Close to the 1st down. He was grabbed on the play by LaShawn Sims. Watson, Hopkins, 1st down. Defended by Sims, gain of 4, move the chains. Watson with the 1st and 10.
That's a good pass interference.
It sure is on Sims. Hand-to-hand combat with Hopkins.
With the football.
Defense, number 36. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. 1st down.
First opportunities, number 2 all time.
He can't get lined up.
1st and goal. That was blown dead.
There are 2 false starts on the play by the offense. Number 74, that penalty is declined. Number 84, that penalty is accepted. 5 yards, still 1st down.
Hopkins has caught 4 on this drive. 1st and goal. Watson. From a variety of angles. Palmer and Woodyard there. Gain of 4.
Repeat plays from previously.
2nd and goal. Miller, good cut. Down to the 5. Hit by Logan Ryan.
Oh, false start. Well, you know what happened there? The quarterback moved, Kevin, and also the tight end. Griffin, he jumps.
Number 84, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd.
You got to have a 3-on-2 that way. And they don't.
Watson, Fuller, touchdown. Beating Sims. Fuller's got his 2nd touchdown pass of the day in his season debut.
Well, they bring pressure to the right, and you just run the corner route to the left, and just a nice throw, good touch by Deshaun Watson, giving Fuller a chance to go up and make a play on the ball.
Passes on the drive. Miller had a 9-yard run. Fairbairn will put it through. Fairbairn. Dory Jackson looks like he's going to leave it in, and he does. To the 25-yard line. Touchback, 1st down. Out of USC, who's been around the league. 1st and 10. Dumps it off. Murray, chased by Cunningham, brought down over there. Zach Cunningham, the rookie from Vanderbilt, brought down. Almost an inverted wishbone. 2nd down and 6. DeMarco Murray with a block by Smith. And then stood up by McKinney. With a gain of 2, he's up to the 31-yard line. Last season he was in Dallas. 3rd and 4. Incomplete. Overshoots Matthews. Coverage by Joseph. 4th down. Here comes the punting group. See, last year it came from Dallas, is what I meant to say. In 2016, he also played with Kansas City and New England, certainly, as Brady's back up the punt. And Fuller back there because Tyler Irvin is out with a knee injury for the game. .org/NFL or text Maria to 90999. Foreman with the carry on the 14-yard line. Rakpo around his ankles. Gain of 5 out to the 19-yard line.
A short time, and just really speaks to the quality of individual and the character of a guy like Deshaun Watson.
Austin Johnson wraps up. Deontay Foreman throws him for about a half-yard.
Time that we were able to spend with him at practice on Friday.
3rd and 6. Fuller, you saw the flag. Nice tackle made too. Sims coming up. Gain of 3 as it stands now. Castle.
Illegal shift. Offense, number 15. Never got set and went in motion. 5-yard penalty is declined. Result of the play is 4th down.
I mean, it's amazing. Talking with JJ on Friday, said, "Hey, look, I was worried we were going to be able to raise it $200,000. Why not raise it north of $33 million?"
The punt by Leckler for the first time today. Adoree Jackson back there. 5. He had 6 for Hallis in Chicago. Matt Castle, 1st and 10. Belt is he through, and it's out to Murray, who bounces off Cole. No gain on the play. But he was one of them. 2nd down and 10. Castle. DeMarco Murray. And Covington on him. Gain of 4.
He's looking at the center. As soon as he sees Jones lift his head, he is off.
And that is over the head of Walker, and it's short of Matthews. There was coverage on both ends.
He never gives up until he hears that whistle.
Punt by Kern. Out of bounds and away from Fuller, wisely so. Fuller has got that Olympic speed. It'll be out of bounds, they say, at about the 27-yard line. Foreman in the backfield. 1st and 10 for Watson. Hopkins again. Quickly lassoed by Sims. 1st down, 40-yard line, 13-yard quick hitters. Now he finally has his guy, and he happens to play at Clemson like he did in college. With a Foreman handoff and into the thicket. You see right there, not a whole lot. Maybe carves out a yard to the... Oh, they're dancing on the line. There's the flag. There's the Deontay Foreman run. And tackle was made by Woodyard. It is a gain of 3.
Offside defense, number 99. 5-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
Look at him trying to do it all. 2nd and 4. Foreman the block, looking for Fuller deep. Oh, he skies, and it's incomplete. And the coverage on the play by the rookie, Adoree Jackson.
College level aren't as accurate or as efficient throwing the football like these guys at the NFL level.
Here's Lamar Miller on a 3rd and 4, pushed out of bounds by Byard, who had a pick earlier in the game. Extra tackle, Davenport, bottom of your screen, 70. He has a block actually right there for Foreman. Rookie helping rookie. And it's a gain of 3 down to the 37-yard line.
Martin, Allen, Giacomini.
2nd down and 7. And stiff right there. Johnson and Williams making the stop. No gain on the play. 3rd down. 3rd and 7. Miller is in. In time. Nicely kind of threw it away. There was a flag, maybe on Brown. They were going underneath for Miller on the check down.
Pass interference, number 55 of the defense. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 93 of the defense. That penalty is accepted. 15 yards, automatic first down.
Eric Walden, 4 touchdowns that Watson has accounted for today. Little option here. Ellington. Former 49er, Byard, along with Walden, bring him down. He is at about the 9-yard line. He picks up 12.
The pitch man.
1st and goal at the 9. Miller. And stuff with not a whole lot there. Woodyard and a couple others. A gain of a yard. Put him
The University of Kansas.
Well, it's commonly referred to as the Harvard of the Midwest. And here comes Watson, and he finds Miller.
Here's
another
number 5.
Just tied the rookie quarterback record. Miller with a touchdown. That is his 2nd today.
The movement here, and then all of a sudden you feel the back. He slips out late. Nobody accounts for Lamar Miller. That's just too easy.
4 touchdown passes and a touchdown run for Watson. There's your Fairbairn extra point. 44-14.
Receivers, the running backs in the passing game. He has done a terrific job distributing the ball today and making plays for the Texans.
Adoree Jackson's going to bring it out deep in the end zone, and this is what he can do so well. Get it at SC, and there's Fairbairn who makes the tackle. The kickoff specialist. 1st and 10. He'll go deep. And it was caught but out of bounds, riding over there. Taywan Taylor, the rookie from Western Kentucky, in the coverage. Castle. Intercepted by Gilchrist. Marcus Gilchrist. The former Jet starter. Underneath that. 1st and 10. Foreman from Watson. Blocked by Hopkins. Foreman off to the races. Forced out of bounds by Riley. Davenport, number 70. And Foreman tries to go into Klug, and a gain of 2 as Klug makes the stop at the 24-yard line.
Personality of their head coach, Sean McDermott. Kevin, he's a tough one as well.
2nd and 8. Foreman wheeling. And then Walden gets him and rips off his helmet with the gain of 2. Stand. 3rd and 6. Watson. Clark with the block, buying him a little more time, and Miller was out of his reach, and Woodyard was tailing him to the sideline. Bozo Award, best kicker in college football in 2015, right down the middle from the near hash on an angle, 40-yarder.
Game of the season, and he seems to go out and get more comfortable and play better each and every week. And that's a good sign for this Texans team.
Jackson leaves it in the end zone, 25-yard line, touchback, 1st and 10. As it turned out, opening game here in a loss to Jacksonville, 1st and 10, Matt Castle. Intercepted! It's picked off by Cole! Dylan Cole to the house!
A bail, but watch Delaney Walker as he comes across, Kevin. There's an intersection, and Walker, he kind of ducks at the last second, doesn't think the ball is for him, and Matt Castle throws the ball directly into the midst of awaiting Dylan Cole.
Fairbairn 54-14. NFL high 8 touchdowns on plays like we just saw by Cole. Corey Jackson from the 3. There's a block and there's a flag. And the pursuit. All kinds of
2 fouls on the play after the change of possession. Holding number 14 of the return team. After the play's out of bounds, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 57 of the kicking team. By rule, those penalties will offset at the spot where the possession was changed and the ball was caught by the receiving team. 1st down.
With Kansas City back in 2010, signed a big contract, Henry. Looked like the first hit was Brandon Dunn. With a gain of 2 here, and overall, they'll win their 9th and 11 meetings. Henry again, 2nd and 8, the stiff arm, and the tackle. Banks came from the secondary, and Clowney was right there. There is no gain on the play. That Clowney,
the last year and a half.
Well, he's got his health. That's everything for him. 3rd and 8, Castle. Nice catch, good throw. Banks there.
Runner.
And a true pro, 1st and 10. Castle. That's Decker, who's been quiet today. It's another catch for him, though. He's had a couple, and that is a tackle by Jonathan Banks. And he was a Belichick favorite. 2nd and 3. Look out!
There's Clowney.
Clowney! And maybe a fumble. Maybe a fumble. It was 3 straight Tennessee Titan turnovers.
He's working on the left tackle. Lawan, he comes around, and Matt Castle never feels him as he strips that ball and gets it on the ground.
First drafted Bucknell player, Rickson, 69, 1st and 10. Foreman trying to stay in. Tackle by Logan Ryan.
To build your offense around.
2nd and 10. Ooh, play action by Savage, almost knocked away and sacked. Sacked by Derek Morgan, 3rd of the year for him, had 9 last year.
Play that Mike Malarkey will remind his football team about.
The quarterback's out of the pocket. 3rd down.
They are or what they're capable of.
3rd and 18. With a handoff here to Alfred Blue, who's been a bit injured. And long-time Texas running back.
He's going to be in the training room tomorrow, Kevin. That right leg is going to be wore out.
Nice snap pulled down, and he remains perfect as a rookie. Consecutive years, I don't think I've ever called a game where 57 points were scored.
How about that? That's saying something.
That's over Weems, rather.
You've called some of my games, Kevin, where we used to go out and drop a house on people yourselves. I mean, they did not play well really in any phase of the game.
Castle handoff, and this is Henry. Stuffed at the line, hit by Covington, among others.
By Dylan Cole, you get the strap, the sack, strip fumble.
Cole just made a sack right there. So he gets his first career sack and his first career interception, which, by the way, was a pick 6 in this game. And is
here worked under Romeo Crennel, and he's really earned the opportunity to call this defense.
Castle 3rd and 11, and caught by Matthews with the coverage on the play for The Houston Texans will be Chris Thompson. With the current punt. Just off the practice squad earlier this week, he got tripped up, and as you can see, he was rustled down by Trowick. 50-yard punt and no return.
Quarterback Watson did a nice job with ball distribution. He spread it around and got everyone involved in the passing game.
Here's Alfred Blue on 1st and 10, which takes us to the 2-minute warning. 2nd and 5. Blue. Woodyard is there to make the stop.
Bill O'Brien's done a terrific job, Kevin, really changing the offense to what Deshaun Watson does well.
Blue on 3rd and 4. See the game tackle right there. With the loss of a couple on the play. Highest average in the history of pro football, 47.5 yards per punt. And waved off by Eric Weems. Down to the 5.
He got away with the bet. He hasn't punted all day.
No. 3 straight turnovers here for Tennessee as they start this one with a handoff to Matt Castle and a gain of 3. And not a whole lot there, and that will be the ball game. 2-2 Houston, 2-2 Tennessee, and a big day for rookie Deshaun Watson.